So my background is kind of bizarre. I am a mixture of I don't know what. I don't know what kind of educational thing I come from. What I can say is I play with technology to do creative things. And I'm lately, past 10 years, I've been trying to get people to do the same thing. So my one life is as a filmmaker. I've made 2 feature films. I wasn't the director. I was the technical director and the director of photography. So I was still above the line. The first film was like in 2012. We did a whole bunch of festivals and stuff. Eventually got a fairly nice release over theatrical and OTTs and all of that. The second film uh, released in 24, but we were trying to get it out a lot earlier. And my other life, which I have been doing for the past 10 years almost, kind of came out while I was waiting for this film to come out. So my other life was being an artist, a creative computational artist, you would say. So I would put up installations like this one. So this was for Serendipity Arts Festival. So this is the physical version of that. Then I used to help artists realize their own tech-based projects. So this was done for this artist called Nandita Kumar. And this sketches on the left side, those were done in processing. And then this year at Art Fair, this was shown as a sculpture, like a huge sculpture. So this was a thing called Metro Sonata where people would come up and like just move around and it would just trigger some sort of sounds from the Delhi metro and try to create music out of it, sort of a gestural interface, trying to celebrate the idea of the sounds from a metro and, have fun with it. My other life was running this artist collective called Third Thought, which we used to like host these dirty ass parties with like wild music like. So a lot of this music would be very loud, very violent sometimes, kind of complex time signatures, essentially electronic music, but with not exactly 4x4 all the time. I mean, just getting interesting with it. There was a time this was called IDM. There was a grandstanding term, like full form of this genre. I like to call it irregular dance music. IDM. Okay, so this other part of my life that started about 10 years back is how I met Prashant as well, is this sort of practice called live coding, which you might have seen at conferences like this where people come and like code, and we perform with this. So there's this person called Alex McLean who was doing the same thing. I was doing the same thing in India as well. We were just not giving it a name. So most of the time, the kind of gigs I would get would be mostly in art galleries where people are just like, this guy is making some noise, I don't know. Some people get it, some people don't get it, some sort of agentic systems, whatever. But we were trying to have fun with it. We were doing parties with it. So Alex put together these 2 words along with his friend Nick Collins and Algo and Rave, Algo Rave. So we, in 2018, we started doing these events, starting with something called Fat Finger Mayhem. Fat finger is a phenomena that would happen if you were trying to type and somebody's looking over your shoulder and you're always messing up. I'll show you a demonstration of this a little bit later. So this event happened in May, Fat Finger Mayhem. So we did about 2 versions of this, Fat Finger Mayhem. Eventually we got out and like started doing independent events. So first one in Bangalore, first one like all over the country essentially. This was like a beautiful event in Pune, one of my favorite places to play at because the audience is just, I mean, they let us do anything and still have fun with it. Like in fact, in this picture right at the back, I was playing some very odd time drum and bass essentially. And this person was trying to dance to it. I found it so like beautiful that even though they were not getting the timing, which is what would happen in like a prog rock concert or whatever, right? You're trying to figure out how to headbang and the time signature keeps changing, but it's still fun. I mean, that's where it is. That's what music needs to surprise us, right? So, been doing these workshops all over the place for this exact thing. I mean, with everyone from like adults to like kids like 10 years old. This is kind of like the first event. This is the person who I started Algorave India with. This person is called Dhanya Pailo, but there is a whole bunch of people who have made Algorave India possible. Some in this video. When you decide. So lots of different systems. Some people are doing like Max MSP, if you know what that is. Some people are doing Gibber, which is like this beautiful platform that was put together by a person called Charlie Roberts. I mean, these names we can discuss later. Proper legends in the scene. Max MSP is a system that I'm guessing a lot of you might be playing around with, trying to prototype things together. This is a person called Akash Sharma, another brilliant live coder, and also he makes these beautiful generative art pieces. He runs his project called Sound Codes. Look him up when you have the time. So this whole Algorave India journey, I mean, started looking back a little bit of where the heck all of this was coming from. And turns out a lot of the stuff that I play with a system called tidal cycles, which we'll discuss again a little later, has its origins in India. So everyone knows of Jamshed Bhabha, right? So he was trying to put together a system to put notation in Hindustani and Carnatic systems. Because for the most part, you guys are more equipped in this because I did have a very small Hindustani classical education, but I was an idiot 5-year-old who decided that, okay, it was too boring at the time. Even though I had like one of the most legendary masters, he was also a master to Hariprasad Chaurasia, but idiot kid, whatever. Eventually, I did learn drums, and this is what my musical journey kind of continued onwards to. So, Jamshed Bhabha was trying to put together a system for notational systems. He met up with this person called Bernard Bell, who was doing this completely different research on intonation of Indian rags. And there was another person called Jim Kippen, who was like every white person of the time before air conditioning, was hanging out in Missouri, and he met up with this tabla player and ended up figuring out a very beautiful project where he would analyze the way, Hindustani music is improvised. Right? So these guys would come up, try to like figure out what the heck is even happening. How are these guys trying to improvise while having some systems in place? Remember I was talking about that whole filmmaking thing that I was doing? So the last film that I did is actually also improvised. So since that point, my life itself has been improvised. And as you might have been noticing, even this talk is kind of like that. So this is Jim Kippen. This is Afaq Hussain. Jim was kind of learning from Afaq, but also they were collaborating on the system of sort of classifying different kaidas, right? And on the other side, Bernard Bell was trying to do something like this. So this was coming in from something called the melodic movement analyzer, which was, I mean, all the Hindustani and Carnatic people, you guys already know what I'm talking about. So this was some research happening in NCPA. There was another bit of work happening in ISTAR in Delhi. And they kind of combined forces. And what came out was essentially trying to classify these rags, trying to do machine learning at that time, back in the 1980s, which is ridiculous, on like an Apple II system. And I mean, most of our music tends to be in cycles. So what they decided was, okay, let's try to take it from the Hindustani system where we would divide time further and further and just do variations on that. So has anyone seen this sort of chart before? Mr. Chomsky, before he was hanging out with the islands, he was making something called the hierarchy of languages. So this kind of system is what inspired these guys into kind of making a hierarchy of dividing time. So first they did this for tabla, and essentially this is like what, I mean, again, you guys are more qualified for this. I'm a script monkey, more of a script monkey in this sort of space. But this is how you would put together a sentence of music, right? Bernard Bell came up with this system called the Bowl processor, which would basically take that grammar, break it down into little words, and break that down into little characters, which you can put together, which I would do a demonstration of this, in this system, and which itself inspired a system called tidal cycles. So Alex McLean, the person I was talking about, who came up with the term algorithm. So you would have a system like this. So Fat Finger Mayhem, let's see if it works. Nope. So tidal cycles itself is put together with there's a system called Super Collider that's running on the side. So now it's running on the side. I'm loading up a whole bunch of samples. At the bottom is tidal cycles, and I would have a simple bass drum. Hopefully there is sound. Is there sound? Okay, great. There is sound. Right? So this now lets me do music or patterns in time, but in a very simple way. So I can do something like, right? Of course, you can do this in any DAW. But then if you're in any other DAW, if you're trying to do this, I've suddenly changed time. And then I can further change time. right? Now I can do things like fat finger mayhem. Try to do this in a DAW. Now this, sort of a simple system like that, simple language like that, lets me perform different things. Let's say I take up a sample, some sort of a simple pad. Let's say I am gonna change it. Okay, let's just play one and then we'll see what to do about it. So, okay. Their samples are kind of overlapping on top of each other. Much better. Fat finger mayhem again. Sorry about that. And it's essentially that, what we saw with tabla patterns being broken down, right? Of course, you're coming from some sort of a Hindustani system, then you would be, of course, changing the speed of the cycle. So I can do something as simple as, or and put this together in a generative system. Okay. Okay, shut up now. Okay, cool, yeah. So, yeah, this is all I was doing. That's all there is. I was taking cycles, I was dividing cycles, all coming in from a system that was derived from Hindustani styles. And this is that bold processor thing I was talking about. As of now, I've been looking for systems like this for a while. BP3, which is the latest iteration of which believe you me, running on PHP and C Sound, and tidal cycles. Literally the only two systems that I've found that let me do this kind of time division without having to do any math on my end. I mean, C Sound is great. Superglider is great. But they don't let me, I mean, they do continuous signals very well, but they do not let you divide time as beautifully as this. The cool part about this bold processor system was the BP1 actually ran on an Apple II. And at that time, it could both make a pattern as well as you could give it a pattern and analyze and tell you whether it fits in the qaida or not. Right? I still don't know of any systems that do that reliably for Hindustani systems at all. If you do, please do educate me. I would like to learn more. So all of this has kind of inspired. So this is what the tidal cycle system is kind of built on. Back in the day, like I made this like a version of this presentation a long time back when I was using the Atom editor. Of course, it doesn't exist anymore. So I was using Vim right now. So whatever editor you are running on, you can. Tidal cycles is built on Haskell. So I was running the Haskell part. Haskell part at the bottom, my Vim editor at the top, SuperCollider doing the sound generation on the side. And SuperCollider is just doing sound generation. I could stick in anything. So if you have any other music making or sound making device, synth, whatever that, I had mentioned, I had asked a question earlier today about why not OSC. So this is the example of OSC integration running tightly. Because tidal cycles is essentially just sending events in time. And the events in time are getting received by SuperCollider, and it's doing synthesis on the fly. So right now I only showed you examples of doing this with samples, but of course you can do synthesis with SuperCollider, with C Sound, or whatever else system. All of this also got, I mean, I've been trying to do workshops on tidal cycles for a long, long time. Most of the time, because of just Haskell's difficulty in trying to get it installed in places and all of that, most of the time their workshops would be more tidal install parties rather than actual workshops. So, because once you get started with it, the grammar is so easy to pick up, right? And you can even start translating things like, I did something idiotic, of course. So I took, does anyone know what the amen break is? Right? Okay. So I took an amen break, cut it up into pieces. So a simple amen break is like, yeah? So this is one sample from the almond break. This is another sample. So I sat there, classified each of the sections of our almond break into tabla bowls. So if you want, on the Tidal Cycles forum, you can find this post. It's still one of the, if you try to look for bowls, this would turn up first thing. So I can literally just start doing some tabla players here. Can you tell me a nice pattern? Dha dha. Let's see if this works. Then next cycle dhada dena. And then I can be at an event and just start doing my pads thingy again. I don't know. So this is basically a folder full of samples that I have. The same language, just that you guys know, just translated here, right? And you can go and mess around with this. And all that it required me to do is put in this tiny bit of Haskell code, which is just stupid, I was thinking. This bold processor thing was interestingly, it had another collaborator, which I found out about it much later, is this person called Srikumar Subramanian, who actually has put together a platform which you guys might already be using, Patantara. So he basically was one of Bernard Bell's juniors, and he helped him put together BP2 actually, not BP1. And actually, Mira's repository is a pretty cool resource that you should look at. Awesome Carnatic music, which has a link to Parantara. So if you want to go check that out, please do. So he put together a couple of very nice tools. One is what I found pretty cool for people who are trying to learn the tabla or just languages of Hindustani music. So something like a metronome like this. You get it. The cool part about Patantara is it also lets you change time cycles for melodic pieces. And what it'll do is it'll figure out how much, so when a Hindustani or Carnatic performer plays, if they're changing the time cycle, okay, you guys have done, you use DAWs, you've done automation. And if you've done any automation, I don't have a demonstration of this, but if you've done any automation, if you squeeze the automation in a smaller time cycle, you would find a bunch of the things kind of get moved around too fast. Stuff that we do not even notice. So it figures out how do actual performers change the piece where they would overshoot a note, where they would skip out certain bends in the gamak and essentially be able to reproduce it in a more realistic manner, right? So I would say take a look of this. At the moment, I just wanted you to introduce you guys to some of these systems. I've been trying to put together things around this for a while. If you can help me out, please contact me, because I've been waiting to see systems like this in traditional DAWs, traditional music making software, because, I mean, we need to get this whole language back in our vocabulary. Yeah, so that's me. There's algoravindia.in. That's my website. I'm on socials with my surname. There's not much more to add from my side. So thank you so much.